What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Before I get into the subject matter at hand, I'd like to remind you guys, if you want to donate to Too Raw, if you want to show love to this channel, you can donate at the link provided in the description box if you choose to. I'll try to do the best videos I can for you guys. All right, now I want to talk about some comments that Iguodala made about Stephen Curry. And he stated that, in his opinion, Steph Curry is the second greatest point guard in NBA history, behind only Irvin Magic Johnson. Before I go into my opinion on this matter, I want to call out the lazy journalists out there that misinterpreted Iguodala's comments or purposely twisted his words to make it seem as though he was saying that he thought Curry was the second greatest player behind only Michael Jordan. That's not what Iguodala said. See, that's why I fucking hate a lot of you guys out there in the mainstream media, because it's either two things. Either you're incompetent, okay? You're incompetent. You don't do thorough. I mean, all you gotta do is read what he actually said. Or you're doing it on purpose. Because I thought that's what he said. I was going to make a video titled, Andre Iguodala must be on crack if he thinks Curry's better than Jabbar. Or something like that. I was going to, maybe it's not the best title, but I actually read what he said, and that's not what he said. But anyway, basically, Iguodala said that starting in, I think he said 2015, when he was playing with Curry, that's when he saw the potential for Curry to be truly great, okay? And in my opinion, if you talk about the second greatest point guard of all time, like right now, like when I did that video, when I listed my 50 greatest players, I had Curry at number 37 overall as far as my 50 greatest. I think at the time, the only point guards I had ranked ahead of him would be Magic, Oscar, I think Isaiah, and John Stockton, I think. And I had Curry just ahead of Gary Payton at that time. But, I kind of do these things season by season, you know what I'm saying? I probably should do that video during last off season. I'm probably going to make an updated version of that video after the season is over with. But already, based on what I've seen, I'm already going to leapfrog him past John Stockton and Isaiah Thomas. And yeah, that's about right. I wouldn't put him past Oscar yet, though. I would disagree with putting him past Oscar. And look, and I say this, I know that this generation truly cherishes championships, and that is the goal. But let's be realistic. Nobody was going to win titles on a grand scale during the Bill Russell era other than the Boston Celtics. You know what I'm saying? To quote Wilt Chamberlain in an interview he did, if Wilt Chamberlain was a loser, then damn near everybody else in the league was a loser when Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics were playing. Okay? So I can't just look at NBA championships, but look what Oscar Robertson did when he was in the twilight of his career, when you paired him with Abdul-Jabbar. They won a championship in 1971. And in 1974, they made another final appearance, the Milwaukee Bucks, and came one game within winning a second title. So I can't, and just how truly dominant Oscar Robertson was. I mean, you talk about a guy that was NBA ready. Like Oscar, Jerry West was a great player, but Jerry West wasn't exactly NBA ready to the extent that Oscar was. Like Oscar came to the league and just totally dominated from day one. Sort of like how Michael Jordan did. He was truly a transformative player. Curry came in the league. He wasn't quite as dominant as Oscar. He's not as dominant, in my opinion, a player as Oscar Robertson overall. I think Oscar is possibly the most dominant point guard in NBA history from a skill standpoint. Magic, you take all of that together, skill, the size that he had, plus the postseason success, well, he didn't have the greatest longevity. I can't say that. But the success and the championships and the accomplishments you put all together, that's what makes Magic Johnson the GOAT of point guards. But I understand the argument for Curry. I get it. I just wouldn't put him right behind Magic. I put him third, me personally. Now, when all is said and done, can Curry catch Magic? It depends on what you're looking at. I mean, if you're just counting championships, which I think is a lazy way of measuring players, then yeah, I guess Curry's 30. It all depends on how this Warrior team, everything is situated. A lot of it does depend on whether Kevin Durant stays, no matter how much people want to diminish Kevin Durant's importance to the club. If Kevin Durant leaves, then the playing field becomes a little bit more level. Other teams are going to get better, especially with the free agents out there looming now and potential new players coming on the horizon. So we don't know what the future holds. But if Curry does win a fourth championship this year and potentially a fifth championship, and then have more accolades under his belt, especially if he's able to win another MVP. If Curry's able to win a third league MVP and a fifth title, and of course he's going to overtake Ray Allen within the next 2 years and become the all-time leader in three-pointers made, then yeah, he's in the conversation, man. But that would mean that he would have to leapfrog certain other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you feel comfortable, for instance, putting Stephen Curry over a guy like we say top 10? Would you feel comfortable putting him over guys like Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell? And then if you're talking about the creme de la creme, as I like to say, Wilt, I don't know about that. I mean, that's kind of really pushing it. Jabbar, then MJ. I mean, I just don't see that. I see a Hall of Famer, surefire, yes. Will he be a top 10 all-time player? I think some people can make that argument, but this is my problem with that. Curry right now is, I'll put it like this. Most guys who are considered top 10 players, right, by the time they were 30, they had already kind of attained that ranking, or they were close to it. You know what I mean? Like when Michael Jordan was 30 years old, he was already pretty much looked at, and by some people's eyes, as already the greatest player of all time. If not the greatest, top 3, 4, at the lowest 5. But already he was there. It's just what he did after his first retirement that just solidified it and made him the consensus GOAT. Abdul-Jabbar was already looked at as a top, probably, by the time he was 30, top 3 player all time. Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaq, all these guys by the time they were 30, they were already looked at as top 15, maybe 20 at best. Curry right now, he's 31, and I don't think most people until this year really looked at him already as a top 10 or 15 player. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if you're projecting, which is dangerous because you don't know what's going to happen to people's careers. But if you're talking about what he already accomplished, like I said, I already had him like, maybe I had him a little bit too low, but I had him top 40, top 35, you know. But definitely after this year, I could see him being a top 25 all-time player. But like I said, I have a hard time putting him over Dwayne Wade. And it's just because I just think Dwayne Wade was a better player. And I think that Dwayne Wade, while he doesn't have quite as many championships, well, actually they have the same amount of championships, but Wade was able to do things on teams. Like, I'm just not certain that Curry, if he was the lone guy on that team like Wade was for long stretches of his career with the Miami Heat, I just don't know if Curry could all by himself carry the Warriors to a playoff berth. Like, if he didn't have Draymond Green, if he didn't have Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson, I'm not certain if he can carry the Warriors to the playoffs on his own consistently. Because then you don't have the spacing. It's not the same. And then defenses can focus clearly on Steph Curry. And I don't think the shooting percentages will be quite the same. Well, that's what Dwayne Wade had to deal with. You know, he didn't really have, outside of that first Heat team that won the title, and then that team was disbanded and broken up. For that, from that time period on until when when LeBron and Chris Bosh joined him a couple years later, Wade was carrying that team. Then Wade was carrying that team from 03 to 05. He almost instantly turned that team around from being awful to at least being playoff contending. You see what I'm saying? That's a guy that is a transformative player. So that's why I can't put him over Wade just yet. Now, one more year of a run like this, then I'll put him over Wade. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm a little bit more conservative with how I rank players than some other people. That's just my style, okay? But long story short, I don't really have a problem with what Andre Iguodala said. I just wouldn't put him over Oscar at this time. But tell me what you guys think.